Hello. In this video, I wanted to talk about base 2 sprites in pixel art and potential solutions. So, if you've done pixel art long enough, depending on some ways that you use it, sometimes you run into these bizarre issues in which when you resize them, and if your canvas is not some form of base 2, like if it's not 2 by 2 pixels, 4 by 4. Wait, am I doing that right? Maybe it's 8 by 2 by 2, 4 by 4, 8 by 8, 16 by 16, 32 by 32, 64 by 64, 128 1 by 128. But if you keep going up, etc. A lot of this has to do with resizing algorithms, and I wanted to show you how, if you are using it, say in a video game or something like that, that doesn't mean that you always have to have sprites that are exactly 32 pixels all the time. So for an example, this is just a it looks a little blurry because of this is a program I made called Thumbtastic. You don't draw on it, but the point of this is I want to show you, these are just two different PNG or pings that I exported from Asprite that I quickly made. This is 32 by 32 pixels, and this is 32 by 32 pixels. So the thing is, when you put them together, normally if you just stack them on top, first of all, there's a gap. So the thing about that is some people may think that when you have it, that means that all of your pixels either have to be some form of 32 by 32 pixels, but there's basically a programming trick in which you could overlay. So what you do is you have, all of your sprites are some form of 32 by 32, and that's for resizing them on different computers and whatnot. But if you put them together, if you overlap them and say the head is above the body, and you overlap it, you can get different effects and different proportions and whatnot. So it's like, if you look at this quick sprite I made, if it was going to be 64 by 64, if you made it on one template, it would look like that. Obviously you'd have to extend the neck more, but then you're kind of limiting yourself to having it like that. But programmatically, if you say display the sprites in an overlapping way that the head shows up on top, you can do things like that, and you can have all of your proportionality that you want, while also kind of keeping it together in a way. Like, you may want to have different proportions for different characters or different things, and you could definitely work with that. But it's important that you could get away with that. I mean, it's kind of like a weird thing that I feel like a lot of people may not understand, and it's kind of like a weird programmatic thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are many people who've got away with using sprites that are not of a base 2 size or whatnot, but in general, this was my solution for dealing with it. I mean, I can't remember where I learned this from, but it was a long time ago. So do understand that computers understand base 2 a lot easier, especially when it comes to resizing. Resizing can get really weird. I mean, we live in interesting times, considering how when you target something, you have to target such a massive amount of screen sizes. Like, that wasn't how it was back then. Like, back then, say for the Game Boy or something like that, you targeted a very specific resolution, and a pixel is a pixel. So you worked within the boundaries of that, and you didn't have to worry about resizing. So you would get different size pixel things, and it worked. They didn't have to worry about responsiveness and how things upscale. But a big point of dealing with base 2, say 32 by 32, is scaling up. Sometimes things can look off if it isn't, when it scales up, if it's not of a base 2. You may get some instances in which there's a strip of pixels that look off, or maybe in your art, one eye would look bigger than the other eye because the template isn't 32 by 32. pixels or like some amount of base too. So it is important to keep those things in mind, because I will tell you the amount of times I thought I had bugs in some of the code that I made, all for me to find out that, oh no, it had to do with me resizing, me resizing something that didn't have a base 2 of pixels, causing that issue, while also not using a pixel perfect upscale resolution. That could definitely cause an issue on your end. So yeah, I hope this kind of helps you understand how to do this. I mean, you could just use a a 64 by 64 pixel template if you wanted to instead, but then everything may not be in proportion. I know sometimes people may want something like a 3, like a 2 to 3, or something around that. Like, when it comes to probably drawing characters or whatnot, you'll do things in different ways, but like I always think of like in drawing it's like 7 heads taller or something like that, but that's just a general rule of thumb. I mean, doesn't mean you should follow it. I mean, you should probably find something that you prefer when it comes to working in that way. The other thing is, dealing with pixels is a lot different than dealing with like traditional drawing, although some things kind of transfer over. But yeah, I hope this kind of clarifies about how to do that, talking about past constraints today, and perhaps this can really help you if you plan to make any type of content or a game that you want to get onto multiple devices, but may be a bit worried about picking the right template of some sort. So I guess I'll say it one more time. But yeah, make sure you have like a template, say 2x2, 4x4, 8x8, 16x16, 32x32, 64x64, 128x128 pixels. Something along the lines of that. I want to say there have been games that they'll basically, a sprite will be composed of many different sprites that all act together. You could have like different sprites to do different actions. Say you could, I guess it all depends on how you want to decompose things. In Sprite, if you want to do that, probably what I would suggest is you make a layer for a head. You make a layer for a head. You make a layer for a body. You make a layer for arms. If I could spell arms today. You can make a layer for feet. You can make a layer for many other things. I guess you could do it endlessly for however you want to decompose things. But I think the real benefit here is when you're dealing with it in Sprite, since everything's on a different layer, you could deal with just one layer, but then you could export them to how you would need them, for different things, for different animations. It may be a bit weird because I know that in Sprite you're kind of only dealing with one layer of the same size. Every layer has to be 30. Since I defined it as 32 by 32, everything is going to be 32 by 32. But that also means programmatically, when you go into a different program, say a game engine or something like that, you could then you can make it extend differently. But you'd be exporting all the layers differently. They wouldn't all be on the same layer, so you would have a bunch. You would have all of these things would behave differently from a programming point of view. They would each be their own file that you put together in your own way to deal with it. I know this seems like really weird knowledge that I have, but I will say, I don't like to talk about it, but there was a program I made, and it was it became very overwhelming. It was a massive project that I coded, and maybe I will touch upon it and talk about it one day, but it pretty much did this, and it was nuts what I did programmatically with it. It's really cool, but yeah, I will maybe I'll talk about it one day in a different video. But yeah, that's the whole thing about dealing with sprites like this. Making a sprite composed of other sprites. But yeah, basically, let's just say the algorithm that I had to make had to be really efficient to be able to manage multiple sprites. Like, luckily nowadays, a lot of the game engines and whatnot are really good at handling multiple sprites at once, and they don't lag. but yeah, but yeah, I hope this helps you out. I feel like this is something that was really arcane knowledge that I feel like no one ever said, but is probably widely used by a lot of people, and it just becomes like implicit knowledge that no one talks about. So yeah, I hope this does. I hope this does help you out in your endeavors when it comes to this. But yeah, I mean, I guess another thing you can do if you wanted to, you could like work on a bigger size canvas, say 64 work on different layers. Then when you export it, you could I don't know if there's a setting to, there may be something in here that you can do to try to like clip it in some way. Yeah, I don't know, but in short, maybe you could like um, maybe just export one layer and then clip it to like 32 by 32, some base 2 of pixels. So like you could be working on a larger canvas as a whole, like say you could be working on a 64 by 64 pixel, but you could try to fit everything within a 32 by 32. So you can try to get your actions with the various hands all in one. Maybe I'll do a video on it one day. If you are interested, put it in the comments and I'll try to hack something. I'll try to make something to kind of look like that. But in short, I guess you could say it's kind of like a pre-processing step when you're trying to do animations of some sort that break beyond the 32 by 32 or some base 2 grid. So basically to make it easier for you to do actions that don't fit within just a base 32 grid, but like a way to visualize it before exporting it into a different, say, a video game engine. But yeah, I hope this video helps you out. I probably have rambled on for way too long. If you have a question, please ask in the comments. If you like the video, please like it. And if you like my channel, please subscribe. Thank you very much for listening. Bye.